What's happening, everybody? Well, she is up on the ramps, and as luck would have it, y'all are never going to believe this. All right, guys, so I'm wrapping up pulling out the left rear wheel speed sensor out of the car. Through a check engine light, an ABS code, and wouldn't you know it, another wheel speed sensor croaked on this thing. Okay, guys, check this out. It's actually kind of funny that this has happened in the way that it did. So, when I was filming the driving and giving you guys the impressions of those Falken Azenas tires, the car was doing fine. No issues, no codes, no anything. And just as I had wrapped things up and was on the way back to the house, I get this ABS light. Now, initially, you might think, oh, it's because the tire sizes are different or whatever. The reality is that I knew that the tire sizes weren't different enough to have the car throw a code or run into any problems like that. And the only thing that I figured that it could be would be a wheel speed sensor. And of course, there's nothing in the dashboard to tell you exactly which code is being thrown. In other words, which wheel speed sensor is bad. The fact that it threw the ABS code was reason enough to know that there was going to be a problem with a wheel speed sensor. Of course, this isn't our first time to have to deal with this. But anyway, I got the car to the house, threw the laptop in there, and started to basically scan some parameters. And I want to show you what I found. Okay, guys, so check this out. This is just me logging as I'm going down the road. But check this out. Front left wheel speed, 27. Front right wheel speed, 27. Rear left wheel speed, 636 miles an hour. Right rear wheel speed, 27. And also, this illustrates for you guys that 295 40 20 versus a 275 40 20. There's no real difference in what the computer is going to show as wheel speed between the two. What I'll do is I'll just kind of buzz through this for you guys. And you can see there's always going to be, because of refresh rate, some slight variance between each one of these. That's just the way that data logging works. Sometimes refresh rate can throw that off. But as you can see, this thing will focus. There we go. When everything is going right, the wheel speed is reading identical. You saw right there where they all clipped at the same point. So anyway, yeah, I had to get the car up in the air and pull this wheel speed sensor out. Now, the problem with the wheel speed sensor in these cars is, at least for the left side, is that the connector is on the passenger side, and that wheel speed harness goes all the way across the back right next to the cradle and up into the hub where it senses the wheel speed. So a little bit of a frustrating situation, and it'll become even more frustrating if there's any kind of production dates or production delays or stocking issues with that particular part. So get this thing straightened out here. Anyway, so that's what I'm up to. I basically put an APB out for a left-hand rear speed sensor for this car. And now, to bring you guys up to speed, this will be the 4th wheel speed sensor that I will have replaced on this thing. The first one being the right front. The second one being another right front wheel speed sensor, with the third being the left front wheel speed sensor and hub assembly, and now the left rear wheel speed sensor. Nothing but fun with these newfangled electronic contraptions. You know, they've had these things for a long time: wheel speed sensors, electronics, Hall effect sensors. Anyway, they tend to go bad in these cars, especially in some of the earlier ones. So from what I can tell, it's not a mileage-based thing. This is specifically an age-based thing. So for you guys that are considering at least buying one of these older Hellcats, or any of the Challengers, Chargers in general, just know that there are going to be some electronic parts that you probably will need to go ahead and budget for. And you might as well just buy the parts and have them sitting in a box ready to go, because it's not a question of if, but a question of when. And what ends up happening is, not only does it throw an ABS code, but it doesn't allow you to change your traction control settings. Basically, you're stuck in street mode until you get everything swapped back out. And oh yeah, fun fact, aftermarket sensors don't always work in these cars. In fact, the last go around that I had to return not one, but two aftermarket sensors because they didn't work. Had to use the genuine Mopar part. So with that, that brings you up to speed. Kind of a funny end to my tire review was the car throwing an ABS code and the subsequent removal of the old sensor. The interesting thing about this, though, is that it's just in the timing. We're getting into boost weather. I've got a situation with a drag strip that's shutting down, trying to put together a track day, a track rental. It was like herding cats anyway, only to have a part that keeps me from adjusting traction settings fail when it did. It's just perfect timing, as of course it would be. So anyway, that's a wrap on this. Wanted to share this little nugget of fun with you. And with that, that is a wrap. Adios.